As you all know, I've always held myself to the highest standards of ethics in video game journalism. And so I come here today to dispel all these insane rumors and conspiracy theories and stuff that's going on about Tucker Carlson being fired. A lot of people are saying crazy stuff like it's kind of weird that he got fired the day before Biden announced his reelection, that he got fired a week after having Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Biden's main opponent, on his show, that the accusations against him and his staff are like the least credible things ever, and that Fox News has defended much worse people like Bill O'Reilly much harder. And there, I don't even know if there's any direct accusations against Tucker. People will say it was because of the Dominion. It wasn't because of the Dominion lawsuit, even though I think he was only named it at once, and he wasn't one of the major people that they were suing because he had pushed back against some of the crazier claims that were going on during the 2020 election. So, like, people have been floating all this stuff out of here. The reality of the situation is Tucker Carlson was fired for three reasons. The first reason is Fox News had to pay Dominion money. And their form of accountability was firing Tucker Carlson. They didn't fire the hosts who were more directly involved with the whole thing. They didn't fire the hosts with lower ratings. They didn't fire the hosts who didn't have the highest ratings in cable news history. They chose to fire Tucker Carlson to send a message. To send the message that if you go completely off the reservation, that's okay. But if you slightly question something, then that's bad. I guess it's because, like, if you question something in like a sane, reasonable way, that's a lot more dangerous to the system than just some of the stuff that was said during the debate over ethics in video game journalism in the 2020 presidential election, which Biden won 100% legitimately. And if anyone posts otherwise in the comment section, they're going to get banned. So there's that. Secondly, there's this accusation from this very credible source about toxic masculinity and stuff that allegedly happened at it. The stuff that doesn't seem nearly as bad as any place I've ever worked at, but there was that. But really, the reason why Tucker was fired, and like beyond all this, he just wasn't pulling in the ratings. He was getting what, like 3.3 million. Let's see, what was it? He had 3.3 million viewers a night, which was way higher than pretty much everyone else on television. And Fox is like, look, Tucker, this is the highest cable news ratings in television history. We're going to need you to do better. We're going to need you to pull in 6, 7, 10 million people. It's like, I don't even know if everyone, Tucker's like, I don't know if like everyone combined would add up to that. I don't even know if that's physically possible. And they said, look, we don't have room at this organization for quitters and people who don't deliver. So you're fired, but your contract goes for another year, so we're going to keep paying you 1.4, I think it was something like $2.4 million a month, just not do anything. Like, we aren't going to demote you to another time slot. We aren't going to put you on talk radio. We're not going to have you make content for our web presence or our paid service. We're just going to completely kick you out of the company, but continue to pay you so you won't be able to go anywhere else and talk about stuff. And that was the reason Tucker Carlson was fired, was because he wasn't pulling in the ratings and because of his personal life and a lot of others. And let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this very credible person. This person, Abby Grossberg. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't actually, just breaking character for a second, I didn't actually know what her name was. And when I saw this and I saw the name, okay, Abby Grossberg was fired Friday by Fox News days after. Shouldn't there be a comma there? Abby Grossberg was fired by Fox News, comma, days after she filed her lawsuit in New York and Delaware. It's always New York. Have you guys noticed that? Every time there's some shitty lawsuit against a conservative or Republican, it's always in like some crappy district in New York. Her suit claims she was bullied and subject to sexist and anti-Semitic comments every time. Literally every time. While working as head of booking for Fox News program Tucker Carlson Tonight. An amended lawsuit, which changes a number of answers she provided in deposition testimony she gave last year, was filed Monday. So she perjured herself. Grossberg had been moved to role as head of booking on Tucker Carlson Tonight last year after working as senior booking producer for Sunday Morning Funnies. We have the stuff about Dominion. Guests on Fox News made false claims. Last week, our attorneys advised Ms. Grossberg that while she was free to file whatever legal claims she wished, she was in possession of our privileged information. It was not authorized to disclose it publicly, the representative said. We were clear that if she violated our instruction, Fox would take the appropriate action, including termination. Ms. Grossberg ignored these communications and chose to file her complaint without taking any steps to protect those portions containing Fox's privileged information. So it's just like it's the most legitimate thing ever. You have someone who broke their contract, went against legal advice to announce something, and then gave a really weird testimony. Okay, so apparently I'm having trouble following this, but she's just saying, look, I perjured myself, and then I broke my confidentiality agreement and got fired. But I'm going to come up with all this other shit that happened, and it's 100% legitimate. This isn't sour grapes. This isn't me throwing a hissy fit. This isn't because I'm a woman of a certain background, and this is just what I do to people. This is completely legitimate. So Grossberg replaced her answers with of yes with no. I don't trust all the producers at Fox. They're activists, not journalists, and impose their political agenda on the program. Because no other news does that. No other news does that. Grossberg said, okay, let's see here. Where is the rest of where's the claims? Okay. As with all like good liberal newspapers, it's behind a paywall, so you aren't allowed to have any kind of access to journalism. It appears though Brave can get past their paywall. Okay, so at Fox News, a Fox News producer against producers discrimination lawsuit against Rupert Murdoch's Fox Corp provides a wider glimpse into the network's alleged cultural problems, dealings with prominent Republicans, and finger pointing following a $1.6 billion defamation lawsuit. Wow, I'm really. Tucker Carlson and several producers late Monday alleging the network is rife with sexist, misogynistic, and abusive behavior. Grossberg's lawsuit alleges discrimination based on gender, religion, and disability. The woman with the last name Grossberg is complaining about religious and gender discrimination. Never seen that before. She alleges that the constant... Okay, let's just be honest here. Is Fox News anti-Semitic? Like, are the hosts of Fox News at all hostile to Jews? Maybe Tucker said we shouldn't be giving money to Israel, or he talked about globalists or something. I always find it funny whenever somebody says that and they don't specifically refer to anybody. People like Grossberg just assume that they're talking. So much stress and anxiety that her stomach ulcers flared up and she was in excruciating pain. I'm sure that's just such... It's so fake and Effler. Let's see here. Roger Ailes was forced out amidst sexual harassment because, no one else. I mean, Justin Trudeau got Me Too'd. He also did the blackface thing, and he didn't get canceled over that. He did the blackface thing, I think, 3 times. People close to Fox News. Let's see here. okay, the Dominion thing, falsehoods by Trump. They promoted his freedom of speech. In the lawsuits, Grossberg contends that she heard male executives make sexist and belittling comments about someone, including that the financial news anchor was crazy, menopausal, hysterical, and a diva. I mean, to be fair, like, dudes say that about each other all the time. They say, like, are you on your or whatever? Like, so much of this is just, like, not even abusive work. Let's see here. Accusing her of her inability to manage a diva, creating liability for the network. She probably didn't manage. Let's see here. Grossberg asked to go on medical leave in mid-January as she prepared to stab the knife in Tucker's back. I mean, let's be honest. She gets to be the head of booking for the biggest news show in cable history. And her immediate response is to snake Tucker and to drag him through the mud and to get him fired. I mean, once again, there's no agenda here. She's not a plant. She doesn't have a political agenda. No one told her to do this. Let's see here. She arrived at the office to see many large and blown up photos of Nancy Pelosi in a bathing suit revealing her cleavage. The images were plastered onto her computer and elsewhere throughout the office, the lawsuit said. So, A, did that even fucking happen? Because that might be filed under shit that didn't happen. And if it did happen, like, it's kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie. Like, is that appropriate workplace behavior? No, it's not. But I'm not gonna defend it. But I don't know if that even happened. Wells asked Grossberg an uncomfortable sexual question about her former boss. Is Maria sleeping with Kevin McCarthy? Shocked, Miss Grossberg replied no and quickly left the room. I don't know, that sounds like a legitimate question. I'm sure there's like some, I don't know. Staff members, misogynistic views of women as objects to be judged solely based on their appearance were broadcast. You know what it probably was? It probably was like, oh, that woman's attractive. She's hot. She has nice boobs. She has a nice face. She has nice skin. It probably wasn't like, so like according to this story, like the people on Tucker Carlson's staff, many of whom I'm sure are Christians, and a lot of them are family men. I mean, as far as I know, Tucker is a very doting father who loves his wife a lot. I think he has like 4 daughters or something. But Tucker and these other people were saying, I see women only as sex objects. Women are basically fleshlights with boobs, and I don't care about anything. That's what we're expected to believe here. And I believe her. I believe all women except for the women Bill Clinton raped. In discussions, no women, whether she is Republican politician or female staffer, was safe from suddenly becoming the target of sexist, demeaning comments. They probably just said, like, oh, she looks hot in that, or something. The lawsuit pointed to one alleged instance in October where Michigan gubernatorial candidate Tudor Dixon was scheduled to appear as a guest on Carlson's show. Before Dixon's arrival, a crass and sexist discussion in the newsroom ensured regarding whether Ms. Dixon or her opponent Gretchen Whitmer was hotter and more sexually desirable. The lawsuit said, noting that a producer even polled the office on their views. A, who knows if that even happened? B, like, who gives a fuck? Like, no one's ever, like, we're supposed to believe women have, what about, like, that article that women, I think it was even in the LA Times wrote, where's my shirtless Justin Trudeau to sweep me off the, like, people just talk about whether people are attractive or not. As far as politicians go, Tudor Dixon isn't that bad looking. Let's see here. Mr. McCaskill mocked her by stating she was fat like Kelly Clarkson. Such disgusting remarks were never made about men appearing on Carlson's show, the lawsuit alleged. I'm going to have to press a massive X that no one ever said that guy's a sleazebag, that guy's an F slur, that guy is a grifter, that guy's a piece of shit. Really, even like the Democrats, even the hostile guest Tucker had on, none of these people were ever insulted behind their back. It is. Um, Never made about the men. Also, these are like the most mild cases of sexual harassment. At one place I worked, my boss was like trying to show us like, porn, um, and was talking about like all the like Christian women whose virginities he took and stuff like that. Like even just the amount of like abuse you have to suffer working at a normal workplace, if you're like white or male or Christian or whatever, of just having to sit through people telling you that you're complete shit, like is worse than this. This is like the most mild stuff I've ever heard. It doesn't sound like there's any rough hazing. It just sounds like most of the staff was male and they had some locker room. And I don't think, like, I'm not going to defend it. I'm not. Is it a good thing to say this? Is it a good thing to? No, I'm not going to defend. But it's like when Trump's had the grabber and the pussy thing. Like that was in bad taste. I'm not going to defend it. But dudes just say shit to one another, and dudes like to bullshit. Dudes like to say, "I'm going to kill you. I'm going to beat you up, man." They say like that girl's hot. Men just talk a lot of shit to one another and give each other a hard time, and it's just a male thing. It's not like none of it's serious. Now there's a difference between doing that to people who are close friends and people who are not. Like if people who are like if people are close male friends, they'll give each other shit, they'll make fun of each other, they'll kind of bully each other a bit, and it's understood that that's like all in good fun. It's different if you're doing it to somebody who you have a position of power over, or somebody you're not close with. Let's see here. In one instance, a mother's room where Fox employees could pump breast milk was a waste of space. I mean, how many were there? Maybe if there was only like two or three um, uh, women and it was like just a room that was never used. Let's see here. The executive allegedly said the space should be converted into a room of tanning beds for guys to tan their testicles. And a reference to a segment by Carlson on ways for men to boost their teeth. Like, did she take that as seriously? Like, that's kind of funny. Like, I guess she thought that that was like a serious comment. If anything, that's kind of making fun of like guys who are obsessed with their tea level. Like the idea of them having a room with tanning beds to like fry their balls. I don't know. I think that's kind of funny actually. Um, let's see. Discussing their efforts. Let's see here. Was afraid. Um, so Carlson said he'd be a cowardly idiot to not come on. Well, yeah, I mean he has the number one show. So that is the allegations that had been put out against Tucker from that result. I think Miss Grossberg has the most legitimate, like the fact that she was fired for perjuring herself and breaking her contract and going against direct legal advice. I don't think it has anything to do. I think the story is airtight. I think Fox News is a deeply anti-Semitic company that hates Israel, and that's why Tucker was fired. The other thing, and this is another conspiracy theory I've been hearing, is the 2025 election is coming up. Tucker has a much bigger platform than he did in 2020, and that some people were afraid he'd start saying things. He starts saying things about how the Ukraine war is a disaster, about de-dollarization, about hyperinflation, about how all of America's allies hate them. about how Zelensky's regime is extremely corrupt, um, about how corporations control government, about big tech censorship. He was going to talk about all of these things that the people in power really did not want him to talk about. And as such, Biden or somebody on the back end who represents the neoliberal elite or whatever just said, "Look, you got to get rid of Tucker. You got to get rid of him. He's going to embarrass Biden. He's going to prop up Robert F. Kennedy. He's going to expose Biden. He's going to truthfully report with ethics and video game journalism about all the stuff that Biden did. And he's a big name, so he's going to be able to successfully do all of this." So they came to Rupert Murdoch or somebody else and like, get rid of Tucker. So I don't think that that was the case. I don't think this has anything to do with him platforming Trump and Robert F. Kennedy. I don't think this has anything to do with the 2024 election and him maybe being important to it and pulling attention to stuff that the powers that be didn't want attention pulled to. He was fired because of this completely real and legitimate lawsuit from Abby Grossberg. It's like, what a name, Grossberg. I think Gross isn't Gross grand or big in German, so would that be like Grandberg, like the Grand, like Abbey Grandberg? Huh. So yeah, I think it's that. It's the Dominion lawsuit that I don't know if anyone else was actually fired over. But I think we've uncovered the mystery. We know why Tucker Carlson was fired, and it was the right decision to make from a business perspective from Fox. And I think we can expect the ratings can go up from here on out. So I just wanted to come on and debunk that. Um, God bless everybody. Talk to you later.